For several days, special attention had been given to the southern flank of the 7th Corps sector. The early joining of the Utah and Omaha beachheads had acquired an added urgency as a result of the difficulties in the 5th Corps area. Neither corps had made as rapid progress as hoped. Considerable anxiety existed, especially in the 5th Corps sector, where only a precarious foothold had been won on Omaha Beach. There was serious danger that German reinforcements would attempt to drive a wedge between the Utah and Omaha beachheads. General Eisenhower, viewing the situation on a visit to Omaha Beach, ordered a concentrated effort to close this gap. General Bradley accordingly gave first priority to this mission of linking the two beachheads and issued the necessary directives to the two corps. 5th Corps was ordered to thrust westward, while the 7th Corps was to seize Carentan. The latter mission fell naturally to the 101st Airborne Division, which was already engaged in efforts to dislodge the enemy from Saint-Côme-du-Mont when these new orders were received by the 7th Corps. Elements of the 101st Airborne had already reached the highway south of the town on June 7th. The new attack on Saint-Côme-du-Mont was scheduled for 0445 hours on June 8th. It was to be led by Colonel Sink with 4 battalions of the 101st Airborne. On the right flank, 2 battalions of the 506th Regiment were to drive directly to Saint-Côme-du-Mont. In the center, the 3rd Battalion, 501st Regiment, was to advance past Saint-Côme-du-Mont and reach the main highway south of the town. The 1st Battalion of the 401st Glider Infantry Regiment was to move through Colonel Ballard's force and cover the 3rd Battalion's left flank. The town itself was defended by the 2nd Battalion of the 6th Parachute Regiment. The regiment's 3rd Battalion would attempt to reinforce the defense by taking positions along the highway as the battle developed during the day. The artillery provided a rolling barrage shifting every 4 minutes. In all, the 65th Armored Field Artillery Battalion fired 2,500 rounds into the defenders of Saint-Côme-du-Mont in the first 90 minutes of fighting. The hedgerow terrain made the movement of attacking units difficult. As the attack began, the battalions of the 506th shifted to the left to attack along the road from Verville. On the left flank, the Glider Battalion failed to overrun the German positions in front of them and attempted a flanking maneuver from the right. As a result of the convergence of the units on the flanks, the 3rd Battalion was pinched out of the attack, and the entangled units had to reorganize before they could press the attack. The 506th Regiment was ordered to form a defensive line along the Verville Road, facing Saint-Côme-du-Mont. The 3rd Battalion passed through and reached the Carentan Highway by 0900. Colonel Ewell, commanding the 3rd Battalion, thought he saw signs of the enemy's withdrawal westward from Saint-Côme-du-Mont and decided to go south to seize the causeway into Carentan. His men were met by small arms, machine gun, and anti-tank fire from the buildings near the first bridge. Ewell's battalion pulled back to the east of the highway. As it withdrew, the battalion was suddenly faced by a German counterattack from the north. The counterattack was repulsed, but an additional effort was needed to clear the remnants of the enemy forced from the high ground west of Dead Man's Corner. From there, the 3rd Battalion formed a defensive line facing south and beat back 5 successive counterattacks, each of which approached within 1 hedgerow of the American positions. Meanwhile, the 1st Glider Battalion lagged behind the paratroop units and got into a day-long battle at Base Adaville. At 1600 hours, Colonel Sink ordered it to pass through Colonel Ewell and the 506th and take the town. By the time it had moved up there, the enemy had begun to withdraw. The defenders pulled out to the west, crossed the river, and continued towards Carentan along the railroad embankment. Although mop-up attacks captured the 6th Parachute Regiment's train of 40 carts of supplies, most of the defenders escaped, blowing up the 2nd of the 4 causeway bridges in the process. A patrol found that the enemy's withdrawal had left Saint-Côme-du-Mont completely clear. The 101st Airborne could now prepare to move south to attack the remaining causeway bridges.